Starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our webinar today, Online Testing, College Board's Accuplacer and K3000. Today we're going to hear from Keith Henry of the College Board as he speaks to the Accuplacer test, background there, and then Karen Narvol, National Trainer at Kurzweil, she'll be showcasing how K3000 is used in testing. Today's session is being recorded, so please watch for a link from us that will provide a recording of today's session. We'll be posting that on our website as well. We'll be taking questions. We'll be addressing questions at the end of the session. So if you have any questions, please use your chat panel there to the right of your screen. You can ask questions, and we'll address those at the appropriate time. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and pass control over to Keith. Keith, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and give you control there, and we are now seeing your screen.
Perfect. So thank you, everybody, for joining us this afternoon. My name is Keith Henry. I'm one of the team of outreach colleagues who work with Accuplacer across the country. So you may have already worked with Kathy or Suzanne or Chantel or Ann or myself, and we are always happy to help you with this or any other questions that you have about Accuplacer. So during our session today, we're going to do just a very brief review of Accuplacer, and then the majority of our time will be with Karen showing the features of Kurzweil working with Accuplacer. And then certainly George has already mentioned to you how to address questions to us with the chat panel, so feel free to do that as we progress. So just in case anybody here is not familiar, we wanted to start with a quick glimpse of what Accuplacer is. It is essentially three major components. The first is reliable, rigorous, and valid test content, including our newest test called Next Generation, which are used for placement purposes, as well as our pre-existing tests now called Classic, which are either placement into college-level coursework or diagnostic testing to understand the student's strengths and needs prior to placing in the college level. The second piece of Accuplacer is the test delivery platform itself, which is internet-based, available 24/7, and we work hard to provide continuous enhancement for. In other words, Accuplacer as a platform is always improving. The third piece of Accuplacer is the services that make it work. So the consulting that my colleagues and I do on your campuses about the best ways to use Accuplacer, the professional development, either webcasts or in-person services that we provide so that you can use it to its fullest, and also the technical support to improve the platform but also answer your questions via an 800 number. So those are the three major pieces that Accuplacer is comprised of. The key piece is test content. So on the screen you can see the three different kinds of tests that we offer. Our original tests are called Classic, and you can see the 5 different tests there, 2 for English, the reading test and the sentence skills test, and 3 on the math side. And then on the right side of your screen you see the next generation versions, which were just released in September. So again, 2 on English, this time called Reading and Writing, a more simple name. And on the math side you see 3 new tests that are designed to reflect more the current thinking in particularly the community college world of measuring quantitative reasoning and other things that are not necessarily algebra for a college course. And then finally at the bottom of the screen you see 4 different kinds of tests we have in addition: ESL placement, as well as WritePlacer, which is an essay that students can write and have the software evaluate, and computer skills placement, as well as the option to build a local test that is just for your institution. So Accuplacer again is very robust test content. Accuplacer is computer adaptive. The premise of computer adaptivity is that the test will move up or down in difficulty based on how the student's doing and provide a shorter experience than an equivalent paper pencil. So for example, we do have a paper pencil version of some of our tests we will talk about in a second, which are 40 items. And the computer version is 20 questions or fewer because the computer version is moving up and down and meeting the student where they are. Therefore, it is ultimately less testing than taking it on paper. Kurzweil is one of the different accommodations that are available for Accuplacer, so wanted to point that out in terms of how Accuplacer deals with accommodations. So we do not, as College Board, require that you ask our permission. We allow each institution to make their own decisions about use of accommodations for a student. And certainly for high school students, we recommend that they follow the IEP requirements that are documented, IEPs or 504 plans. When a student gets to college, it becomes their responsibility to check with the College Disability Services Office and have their need for accommodation documented. And that accommodation begins with the testing process and then typically follows the student into the coursework that they're taking once they've enrolled. So again, we as College Board do not approve accommodations. That is different than SAT, for example. So Accuplacer lets you make that determination. Then we have lots of tools, including Kurzweil, for computer-based testing. So one of our primary accommodations is something called the Accessibility Wizard, which allows a student with a visual disability to change the look of the print on the screen, to enlarge the print, change the color scheme, change the spacing, those sorts of things, if it makes the text more readable. The second option is to use screen reading tools, and today obviously we are showcasing Kurzweil. And the third option is, if the student is unable to manage screen reading software, is to use a human reader. The other major kind of disability accommodation we offer is something called Companion, which is our paper and pencil option for the placement tests. We do have a standard print book so that if a student maybe needs a distraction-free environment or has an accommodation that excludes them from using a computer, they can take the standard paper pencil test. We can do this in large print, we can do it in Braille, and we also have an audio CD that will read questions to students rather than having to have a human reader. So we actually overall have a very, very robust set of disability accommodations, and Kurzweil is one of our primary options. So I'd like to turn it over to Karen to explain Kurzweil.
Thank you, George, and thank you, Keith. I'll show my screen. And I'm hoping everyone is seeing my screen. I'm on Kurzweil 3000 currently. Using Kurzweil 3000 for Windows, there are several ways to have text read aloud in Accuplacer tests. And these include Kurzweil 3000's Read the Web for Firefox, the Kurzweil 3000 Taskbar Image Reader, and Kurzweil's Read the Web for Chrome. And I'm going to demonstrate each of these reading methods. To use Kurzweil 3000's Read the Web for Firefox, I must first set up Kurzweil 3000 to work with Firefox. So I'm in Kurzweil 3000. I will go to the Tools menu on the menu bar, and I will select the Options. Within Options, I'm going to select the Reading options. And through Reading options, I have Read the Web. And this is over here on the right. I must make sure, in order to get Kurzweil 3000 and the Read the Web for Firefox to work properly, that I have Mozilla Firefox radio button checked, that I have Read Alternate Text, that checkbox must be checked, and the desktop toolbar must be checked. Now once I have done that, I can say OK. Now the first time you launch Read the Web, you will be asked to install the Kezi Reader text-to-speech extension on Firefox, and this extension is installed only one time. You don't have to do it repeated times. So I'll click OK to that. Now each of these reading methods, the Read the Web for Firefox, the Kurzweil 3000 Taskbar Image Reader, and Read the Web for Chrome, has a lookup word or a dictionary feature. So in most cases, students should not have access to a dictionary during test taking. So there is a way to disable the dictionary when using Kurzweil 3000, Read the Web for Firefox, the Image Reader, and Read the Web for Chrome. Now to do that, I come up here to Tools in the menu bar, and I select Lock Features, which is at the bottom. And this is where I can lock features that I don't want students to have access to during a testing situation. One of these is reference. I'm going to lock the dictionary by putting a check mark here in the checkbox next to dictionary. I already have it set up. So this will prohibit students from using a dictionary when they're in the Read the Web. So I'm going to click OK to that. Now once I've set up Kurzweil 3000 and Read the Web for Firefox, and I've locked what features I want to have locked, I'm going to come over here to Reference at the top of the Kurzweil window, and I'm going to select Read the Web. Firefox will open, and you'll notice at the bottom of the screen the toolbar is appearing. The desktop toolbar is appearing at the bottom of the screen. Now from here, I can log into Accuplacer. I need to put in my username and password. I am using a demo account. And I will click Log In. Now once I'm in Accuplacer, I'm going to administer a test. And I do that over here on the left. I will click on Administer Test and administer a new test session. The profile that I'm using is the demo account, so I'll select that, and then I click Administer Test. Now once I'm into the test, you'll notice at the top of the screen Accuplacer has removed any of the menu bars or toolbars to protect the integrity of the testing session. Now here I have the student privacy policy. The student could read this. I'm just going to go beyond this because of time constraints. I'll accept, and then I'm going to add my student information quickly here. And then I'll add the date of birth. And this is a demo account. And once I've added that information, I'll click on the Next button. I will confirm that I want to continue. I will then look at the student information, click the Save button, click Yes to confirm, and it now takes me into my testing situation. I will click the Next button to begin the test. The directions for answering questions are given to the student, and then the Start Test Session button is available, and I will click that to begin the first test. Now there are 5 questions here that I'm going to demonstrate. To begin reading this question, you'll notice there's a passage and there's a question with a multiple choice answer. I'm going to click here where it says Kurzweil Demo, and then on the toolbar at the bottom is the Read button. I will click this Read button to hear the passage read.
Kurzweil Demo, question 1 of 5. Midnight. Passage. The trend of building large pyramids really took off with 4th dynasty pharaoh Sneferu, who built 3 pyramids during his reign from 2575 to 2545 BC.
To pause the reading, I just click on the Pause button on the toolbar, and it pauses the reading. Now, while this is being read back, Kurzweil 3000 has imported this test question into Kurzweil 3000, and it is reading the test as well. So in order to see that, I'm going to hold down the Alt and tab keys simultaneously to switch between the test question with Read the Web and Kurzweil 3000 so that you can see how a student can switch back and forth if they need to.
When Sneferu finally passed away, his son Khufu, sometimes known as Cheops, succeeded him. For Khufu, there was only one way to outdo his father. He had to build a bigger pyramid. And he would erect it on the edge of the Giza Plateau for all to see. Khufu's ambition led to the construction of Egypt's most famous monument, the 481-foot-tall, 756-foot-wide Great Pyramid of Giza. From Zach Zorich, The Pyramid Effect.
So you can see how a student could go back and forth between Kurzweil 3000 and the Accuplacer test. With Read the Web, one of the biggest advantages is that it will read Accuplacer test questions that have embedded alternate text. So for charts and graphs that need to be described, for mathematical symbols, expressions, calculations, and formulas, all of these kinds of things are read to the student using the alternate text, which is a great advantage of using the Kurzweil Read the Web toolbar for Firefox. So I'm going to answer this question by selecting an answer, and I will click the Submit button, and then I will click the Confirm button to go on. And I can continue to read the next question.
Accuplacer. 1000% test 3. Kurzweil demo. Question 1 of 5. Midnight. Passage. 1. For astrobiologists, scientists who search for extraterrestrial life, the Goldilocks zone has nothing to do with bears and porridge. 2. This zone refers to regions where planets have climates that are neither too hot nor too cold but are just right for sustaining life.
So I've been using the Alt plus the Tab key simultaneously to switch back and forth. I will choose an answer here, and I will submit it and confirm. I go on to my third question. For time's sake, I'm just going to select an answer and click Submit and confirm. Now there are 2 more questions here in this demo account, and both of them have alternate text. And I'm going to start to have the Read the Web read this, and then I'm going to switch to Kurzweil so that you can see the alternate text.
Kurzweil demo. Question 1 of 5. Midnight. Question. Resting heart rate box plot with plotted numbers from 39 to 101. The box plot above summarizes the resting heart rates, in beats per minute, of the members at a gym. Which of the following could be the range of resting heart rates, in beats per minute? 16, 31, 62, 70. Submit.
So you notice that this particular graph was described using alt text through the Accuplacer test question. I'm going to select an answer, and I'm going to submit and confirm. This is the last question in the demo account, and this is a really good example of alt text. So I'm going to start by using the Read the Web to read this, and then I will switch to Kurzweil so that you can see the alt text being read.
Kurzweil demo. Question 1 of 5. Midnight. Question. If x greater than 0, then square root of x cubed plus x squared minus square root of 4 plus 4x. open parenthesis x squared, 4 close parenthesis multiplied by the square root of x plus 1. Square root of open parenthesis x squared minus 4 close parenthesis multiplied by open parenthesis x plus 1 close parenthesis. Open parenthesis x minus 4 close parenthesis multiplied by square root of x plus 1. Open parenthesis x minus 2 close parenthesis multiplied by square root of x plus 1. Submit.
So you have just seen how you can use the Kurzweil Read the Web for Firefox to read Accuplacer tests, including the embedded alt text. It's very easy to do that using the toolbar. I'm going to choose an answer here and submit and confirm, and then this ends my session for the demo account. Now, another way to read test questions is to use the Kurzweil 3000 taskbar. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to go back into Accuplacer and show you how that works.
And Karen, before moving on to the next, there's a couple questions here that are specifically relevant to what you've just been showcasing. I don't know if you want to address those now or just answer all the questions at the end.
I can take the questions now.
Okay.
Try to take the questions now.
So the first question is, can you close all browsers except for Accuplacer exam browsers so students cannot change screens during the test?
With the Read the Web for Firefox, as far as I know, when the test questions come up, when you start the test session, students do not have access to anything within that browser window. Are they asking about other browsers being open? I know with my computer other browsers are open. I would have to look into that further. Okay. How you would, lock something, lock, one window down and not have any other browser windows available.
Another question here is around changing the speech speed rate.
Yeah. It's easy to do that. On the bottom here you see words per minute. So you have here's the Kurzweil Read the Web for Firefox toolbar at the bottom of the screen, and you can change the reading mode, the reading unit, and also the words per minute. So you can increase or decrease the speed of the reading right here.
Great, thank you. See, we have another quick question here. Will Kurzweil Read the Web read the pop-up dialog boxes for the confirm and submit buttons?
You have to check that to see. I think it does. It does for submit, so yes. I'm sure it would for confirm. It does, because it gets to the question and then it says submit. So, and then you can click on it. So yes, it does.
Great, great. Well, there was the one last question here is, can you have questions repeated using Kurzweil?
Yes, you can. With the Read the Web, I didn't demonstrate this. With Read the Web, sometimes it's difficult to start in a particular place, like just the questions. You may have to start, the student may have to start back at the beginning of the question and have the entire question read back to them. With the image reader, which is what I'm going to demonstrate next, they do not have to have, they can choose anything that they want to and have that read back. They don't have to start at the beginning. But there are some limitations to that. So I can show that in using the image reader and also using the Read the Web for Chrome.
That sounds great. Let's do that, and then if there are any additional questions, we can address them after you showcase that. Just a reminder for everyone who wants to place a question, you can use the chat control panel there to place a question.
Okay. The second thing I'm going to show is the Kurzweil image reader working with the Kurzweil taskbar. So I'm going to get back into Accuplacer before I actually get into that. So I'm going to just come back in here to Kurzweil. I'm going to read the web. It will bring up Firefox. I will go back and choose the Accuplacer website, and I will log in again. And I'm just going to quickly go through administer the test question, administer the test with the demo account. I will accept. I'm going to put in the student ID very quickly. I'll choose the date of birth. And click on the next button to go on. I will confirm by clicking yes, and I will save this information and confirm that page. And now I'm ready to go into my test questions. So I will start my test session. So instead of using this Kurzweil Read the Web task toolbar at the bottom, I'm going to exit out of it by clicking on the X. Now when I do, my Windows taskbar becomes available to me. I see all of my icons here on the Windows taskbar. One thing that I also see is I see the Kurzweil taskbar. It's right here. It has a number of colorful icons on it. Now this taskbar is not active by default. You have to enable it. In order to get it to show up, you need to right-click with your mouse on the taskbar, select Toolbars, and make sure that the Kurzweil taskbar is selected. It has to have a check mark in front of it. So I'll do that again. To make sure that the taskbar is showing up, you right-click with your mouse, go to Toolbars, and make sure that the Kurzweil taskbar has a check in front of it. And then it will show up here on your taskbar. Now, within the Kurzweil taskbar, there is an icon and which says Image Reader. It's the last one. It's the blue one on the right. And this is the one that I can use to read different parts of the test. Now, there are some limitations to the Image Reader that the Read the Web for Firefox do not have. And one of the limitations is that the Image Reader will not read embedded alternate text, and it will not read mathematical symbols, expressions, or formulas. It will read text-based passages. So I'll just demonstrate how this works. I'm going to click once on the Image Reader icon, and when I do and I bring my mouse up, you'll notice that there is a crosshairs here. I can use this crosshairs to draw a box around the text that I want to have read back. So I'll do that. I'm going to click and drag a box around this text. Now when I let up on my mouse, this text will appear in its own window and be read back automatically.
Passage. The trend of building large pyramids really took off with 4th dynasty pharaoh Sneferu, who built 3 pyramids during his reign from 2500.
So you'll notice it came up, the passage to this text came up in its own window, and it began to read immediately. This is a nice feature for text-based questions because the student can start anywhere to read. So let's just say the student wants to just read the choices, the multiple choices here. I can click the Image Reader. I can, with my crosshairs, draw a box around the text, let up, and it will read back.
Or religious commitment, or artistic ambition, Oh, a feeling of patriotism. Oh, a sense of competition.
Another item here is on the image reader there is a dictionary or a lookup selected word feature. There's also a definition feature on the Read the Web toolbar. But because if I select a word, so let's say I select the word competition, and then I click on the look up the selected word, nothing happens. I don't get the definition of that word. The dictionary does not open because I have locked the dictionary within Kurzweil 3000 under the lock features. So this is a really nice way to read text-based documents or tests. Again, it does not work with alt text. It will not read alt text, and it will not read mathematical symbols, expressions, or formulas. The third way that I'd like to show you is using Kurzweil Read the Web for Chrome. And this is a Read the Web toolbar that works with the Chrome browser. I'm now in Chrome. I'm in the demo account on question 1 of 5. The Read the Web toolbar for Chrome will read text passages in Accuplacer tests, but it will not read alt text and it will not read mathematical symbols, expressions, or formulas. If you want to have those read, you will need to use the Read the Web for Firefox. But if the college or university is administering an Accuplacer text-based reading test to a student, then the Read the Web for Chrome will work just fine. Also, before it will work, you must have Kurzweil 3000 installed on the computer, and the Kurzweil Read the Web for Chrome toolbar extension must be downloaded from the Chrome Web Store to your Chrome browser in order to get it to work. So I have done that. I have added the Read the Web toolbar for Chrome to my Chrome browser, and I can open it. I have to insert my username and password, and this is the username and password that you will use for Kurzweil 3000, for Firefly web app, for the Firefly iPad app. It's all the same. You're going to use this same username and password for the Read the Web toolbar for Chrome. So I'll enter my username. And my password, and then I'll log in. Once I log in, I'm given a number of options here for reading. And I'm going to start by clicking before the word passage. And you'll notice there is a blinking cursor here, and this is where the reading will start. So then I'll click on the read button.
Passage. The trend of building large pyramids really took off with 4th dynasty pharaoh Sneferu, who built 3 pyramids during his reign from 2575 to 2545 BC.
And I can click back on the pause to pause this particular text. What's nice about Read the Web for Chrome is that you can pretty much start anywhere to read the text.
After reading the passage above, answer the question below based on what is stated or implied in the passage. The passage characterizes Khufu's motivation to build.
With the Read the Web for Chrome, I also have a number of options here. I have a number of audio options, so I can change the voice, I can change the reading speed, just as I can in the other tools that I've shown. I can change the unit and the mode and the positioning of the toolbar, this toolbar on the screen. So in summary, Kurzweil 3000 offers multiple ways to read Accuplacer tests, and these include Read the Web for Firefox, Read the Web for Chrome, and the Kurzweil 3000 taskbar image reader. And staff can select the best method for the types of tests being administered and the needs of your students. There are great support articles on Kurzweil's website, and I'm going to show those. If you go to Kurzweil's website, kurzweiledu.com, under Kurzweil Academy, there is a support link. And under the support link, there is a technical support link. And within this page, if you click on Customer Support Portal, it will take you into the Customer Support webpage. And if you scroll down, there is a highlighted Knowledge Book Pages section. And in this page, there is Read the Web and Online Testing Compatibility. If I click that, it gives me a lot of information on how to use Read the Web with online testing, how to use Read the Web with Firefox for both Mac and Windows, how to use the image reader for both Mac and Windows, and how to use the Chrome Read the Web for Mac and Windows. So all of this is on Kurzweil's support portal under Customer Support. Are there any questions?
Yes, thank you, Karen. There are a couple questions here, so we'll is the text only available on Read the Web for Firefox?
With Read the Web for Firefox, the student can read all text. They can read any alt text, alternate text that has been embedded within the Accuplacer test. And they can also read mathematical symbols, expressions, and formulas, because most of those are going to be in an alt text format, so they will be read back.
Great.
So Read the Web is probably the fullest featured of all three of them, because it is able to read that embedded alt text.
And will K3000 read the TSI tests in the Accuplacer platform?
I don't know what they are. I would have to defer to Keith about what those are.
Okay, we can get back to the.
So this is Keith Henry with Accuplacer. So TSI is the specific Texas tests that run through the Accuplacer platform. So one of my colleagues, Seth, hers is on the line. So Seth, you may be able to comment on whether we have the alt text in TSI or not.
I'm not sure for the math equations, but certainly the ELA tests would have. Kurzweil should be able to would work for sure.
Okay, great. Another question here: who is responsible for formatting the alternate format in the Accuplacer tests?
So we have a whole test development group that works on the different accommodated forms, including Companion, which is the paper pencil version. So I'm assuming that's what the question was meant to address.
Okay. Great. Actually, the clarification here is that it's for the web version. So responsible for formatting the alternate format in the Accuplacer text for the web version, specifically the math.
Oh, so the alt text behind the math test, is that the question?
Yes.
So Seth, that defers back to you, I suppose, in terms of how that is designed on the screen.
If the alt text is there, it will read it. I don't have access to look at all of the items to see what alt text exists or not. But if the alt text is there, the tool will read it. I'm pretty sure we have it for most things.
Okay, great.
But we'd have to check with our colleagues in the assessment division to verify.
Okay, great. Well, I know we covered a lot of questions here today, and I want to thank all the presenters today. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Keith. And to thank everyone who's dialed in to join us today. If we didn't get a chance to respond to your question, we will respond in later this week. And watch for a link to a recording to today's webinar. And Keith, Karen, I don't know if you have any closing remarks.
I just want to thank everyone. Thank you for attending.
And I will concur with Karen. Thank you.
This is Seth. I was able to confirm that there is no alt text for the math pieces.
Okay.
So it will only work on the ELA tests, as I mentioned.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thanks again, everyone, and please look for the recording later this week from us. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.